Leaked footage from the Israeli military purports to show a Hamas tunnel crossing between Egypt and Gaza. What exactly is it used for, and why is it so important that Israel shut it down? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's get into it. Okay. So again, this is coming to us from the IDF. So again, it's going to be in their favor. Now, okay. Interesting. I always appreciate that they put this stuff out in English. This is the Erez crossing is a official crossing, right? Obviously above ground for all sorts of civilian cargo, right? People, cargo, food, in and out of Gaza. But when you have civilian infrastructure to move a lot of material, it is just common sense that you should also try to move military material there as well. Even if you have border controls like the Erez has, you want to, if you're trying to do any sort of clandestine smuggling, you want to minimize the amount of time that you have to siphon off the military or the clandestine goods from the civilian goods, right? Just like a drug smuggler. They, at their most effective, move that illicit cargo along with regular civilian cargo for as long as possible, because it simply allows it to blend in, right? There's nothing suspicious about a cargo truck driving towards a known border checkpoint, right? So it's about 4 kilometers long. So the very long, deep tunnel, up to 50 meters deep, right? And supposedly the tunnel entrance enables the transport of vehicles. And Israel argues it's created for troop movement and as a launching point for terror attacks. And it's constructed, and note the misspelling here, constructed near civilian buildings, which of course is exactly what you would want. Again, what you need to do is also have a way to separate out your clandestine cargo from your regular cargo, right? So you want to have, at some point, you'll have to separate that out, and you want that to be as hidden as possible when you're doing a smuggling operation. All right, so there's the crossing itself. And this is purportedly the tunnel that the IDF has located. Now, notice the way that this is a very, very tight tunnel, but it is large enough. Probably not large enough, I'd say, to get a cargo vehicle in, but something like a pickup truck could definitely get in there. Now, it looks like they're operating a drone here. Let's see if they have some dimensions for the tunnel entrance. They don't. The other tough part is, I mean, imagine driving a pickup truck in here. The danger, as they talk about, if this is indeed used for vehicles, the danger that they run into is that when you have these really narrow passageways, the risk is that if there is any kind of obstacle, then the whole tunnel becomes useless. So imagine you're someone driving like a pickup truck or a sedan full of weapons or explosives. You're driving through this tunnel and you have so little margin for error. And then suddenly your old car's tie rod goes kerplunk. Now you have a whole bunch of problems. First off, the tunnel itself, whoever's behind you, they can't get through. Second, how are you going to get that vehicle out? Well, you're going to need to send another vehicle in. But remember, it can't pull alongside your broken vehicle, right? And hook it up. And it's going to be even hard to get mechanics in there, right? There's so little room that even if you sent just the parts and the mechanics, they'd have to get in there, get under the vehicle, replace the part, get it operable, and then get it out, right? So just clearing a debris or an obstacle is a challenge in this sort of ultra tight environment. And again, if you have something stuck here, remember, you have to do it all clandestinely. You can't just drive a tow truck into your top secret tunnel entrance. You see how quickly this becomes untenably complicated? Again, this is just so compact. And notice there's all these cables and wires. I have a hard time, honestly, believing that this was for vehicles. I think maybe when they said vehicles, they maybe mean even like motorbikes. But even motorbikes, right? A gasoline engine somewhere with no ventilation shaft, 4 kilometers deep, even that might not really be here. They might be relying on human beings. So it looks like they've got this drone operating. Oh yeah, this is too tight for a vehicle. What fascinates me is that I don't know how they dug it out. Interesting. Wow. So this is purportedly the tunnel's construction filmed by Hamas itself. Now notice that they've built, for the purpose of this huge warehouse. It looks like some sort of cargo storage facility. And you notice, of course, as we talked about, a cargo storage facility near a customs checkpoint is a perfect place to siphon off illicit cargo, because there's nothing suspicious about vehicles driving in, nothing suspicious about vehicles driving out several hours later. And only a very careful observer would notice that if the vehicles that drove in drove out either way too late or with different cargo or with half their cargo missing, you would have to be almost observing on the ground, watching them carefully to see if cargo is being diverted. Again, because this is a secure site, there's also nothing weird about saying, hey, I have a cargo facility. Of course, I'm going to post a guard. Of course, I'm going to have concertina wire, razor wire around the perimeter. Nothing weird about that, because it contains a high value goods and services. But that's also what you would want to do for a military site and not raise suspicion. So this is actually kind of brilliant. Oh, wow, look at that vehicle get in there. Look at how tight that is. Again, imagine this thing breaking down in that tunnel, though. Notice, too, it's running a diesel engine, but there is no ventilation shaft in this tunnel. Normally, at a very deep tunnel, you want to create some airflow, and you can use that with fans. I can't tell you these guys are IDF or Hamas. The fact they're wearing civilian outfits says it may be Hamas. Notice the very simple but pretty effective locks on the door, right? They're heavy. You couldn't breach it with, say, a battering ram. You might not be able to breach it even with C4. A very, very simple but effective system. I don't know, maybe they're IDF. See, they're putting the cameras down here. They might be some kind of site exploitation team, sort of like an FBI crime scene investigator, right? It might be cleared, and then they're trying to learn everything they can about how the tunnels were built, what passed through the tunnels. If you can even infer relatively normal details about how recently people crossed, for example, then it might tell you if Hamas is getting resupplied from somewhere. It might tell you what kind of supplies they're getting. Sometimes you can even tell which direction, if cargo is coming in or out. If there's a bunch of cargo going out of the tunnel, they might say, hey, Hamas leadership is fleeing. So you'd be shocked at how much you can learn by just doing a careful forensic type, CSI style investigation of these kind of sites.
ضغط الباب اللي عنده بحر ليه؟
Look at how soft that sandstone is. And you may think, wow, it makes it really easy to tunnel, and that's true. But that also means it's so soft, it's easy to collapse. I would be so scared in that tunnel, man. Especially if I was starting to carve out parts of the dirt. This looks so much like this is Hamas footage. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah, this must be construction. Yeah, this must be footage that the IDF located. Because look, this is them like drilling out this tunnel. And again, notice all they're stabilizing it with just these like jacks. I don't know, man. This is so sketch. Interesting. This looks like it could be rails. So this would be the vehicle. Oh, interesting that they actually load it onto a ferry and they have it like rail across like a light rail. That would be so smart, right? You offload it from the trucks into a light rail system. The rail chugs for 4 kilometers and it pops out in Gaza where it gets offloaded in another cargo facility where, again, nothing suspicious about having those cars leave full of vehicles. So smart. And this is like a custom vehicle, right? It's too small. There's not Corollas. It's these little mining vehicles. Interesting. It looks like almost as if the Hamas maybe sealed the tunnel up for some reason, maybe when the war started. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, this is clearly it's like a cap. Why would they cap off the tunnel? How do you get the stuff out? Or is it just is it just for emergencies only? Like in an emergency, they'll dig it out, open it up? Because it looks like you could have this tunnel operating within a day, you know, maybe 2. But you got to do all this stuff, dig it out and all that. Weird that it was capped. We see that those bricks all had cement on them. Wow, it's almost unchanged from the video. It's almost like they maybe stopped working on it when the invasion started. It seems really bizarre. Like, it just looks like it's not complete. Yeah, you can see back here, right? Look, like these grids look like they were meant to be walkways or something. See them here? These are walkways. And they never got installed. There's so much of this never got installed. It's like instead of finishing it, they just gave up and abandoned it and sealed it off. Yeah. And there's Prime Minister. Zelensky really made this a fashion for prime ministers to visit combat zones wearing the ballistic vest. That's a nice new phone right there. It's got to drive you crazy to just have to do that stuff or have to put on this dog and pony show. Anyway, guys, that's all I had. If you guys want uncensored combat footage from this conflict, you guys know I can't put this on YouTube anymore. YouTube has forbid me. So I've moved it over to combatvetnews.com. This is my premium site where if you like my analysis and want to support what I do, sponsors obviously won't touch my war content, but you can get access to twice a week. I take the most viral combat footage of Ukraine, Gaza, Burkina Faso, anywhere in the world that there's fighting, we get the most up-to-date combat footage and we do a deep dive analysis, the tactics, units, and locations. So if you want to support us, check out the link in the description, and I'll see you guys over there. Thanks a lot. Cheers.